Hey everybody, it's June 22nd, 2020. It's Monday. It's JJ here. Bolt to the bus. Thank you for joining me. Just wanted to go over some recent news here. We're going to talk about the next round of stimulus checks, how likely those are to occur, and when you may expect those new checks to be coming out. Also, we have another 3 million people not paying their auto loan forbearance. On top of that, we've got banks making record fees and overdraft costs or overdraft fees passing along to their consumer customers. We're going to talk about how that's another sign that the economy is not doing so great for many Americans. Now, with nearly 50 million Americans newly unemployed since the shutdown recession began back in mid-March, you would think that the president would be out there trying to comfort people and trying to actually address the situation, actually address the problem. But instead, if you watch the last rally there, which was pretty much a disaster there, a lot of empty seats. Again, Trump bragging up the stock market. Why all the empty seats? Well, could be a few different things. Maybe people are waking up to the fact that the economy is one big lie, and maybe a lot of his supporters, the president's supporters, may be out of work. And why would they want to go pay money to see someone sit there and brag about the stock market when the stock market's not going to help them make their monthly payments? And you know from previous reports here on this channel that there's 100 million loans now in forbearance and being frozen right now because so many people are out of work and need assistance. There's also the other theory that the empty seats might be just people that are afraid of the sickness. Now, I'm thinking it's likely a combination of both. How many of his followers are likely unemployed? We have 50 million newly unemployed, remember, since the shutdown. And they're saying, hey, why do I want to go buy a ticket to see someone brag about the stock market when I don't have a job? And if you listen to the speech, he really didn't address the unemployment situation. It didn't talk about the 100 million people that are not paying their loan payments through various types of loans with student loans, mortgages, car loans, credit card deferments and forbearances. All right, I'm hoping a lot of people are waking up just to the enormous lies that are being pumped out there about this economy. Right, this economy is completely based on debt, and without the debt and now without the forbearance programs, we would be in an absolute collapse right now. Now, I do think the collapse is still going to happen. Just wait until the forbearances are lifted and you're going to see maximum destruction in this economy. And that's what we've been trying to warn about here for a couple years. We're saying prepare for this. When they do let this go, this is going to be an absolute wipeout of an economy. And sadly, there's going to be a lot of new homeless people. And we just talked about that in our previous report. If you didn't watch that, please go check it out. Homelessness is projected to increase by 45% in the next year. In the next 1 year, 45%. Think about that. Right? We could see tent cities popping up all over the place. It's pretty sad. And sadly, most people are still unaware of it. People actually think that the stock market is the gauge of the economy. While they're waiting for a government check, while they're not paying their payments and they're in forbearance, people still think the economy's good. They think this is just a shutdown recession. This is much more than a shutdown recession. This is a recession that's been long overdue. Right? Remember, each boom and bust cycle typically is about 10 years. If you look back at previous recessions from the dot-com bubble bursting in the early 2000s to the 2008 housing crisis, financial crisis of that time. And here we are now 12 years since that last crisis, and they've been managing to hold off the obvious. They've been managing to hold off the pain. How? Through bank bailouts, through QE to infinity, and they changed the name of QE. They did the repo injection starting back in October. We did also see late payments start to increase very heavily many months ago. This has been coming, and now with the shutdown recession, the virus is the scapegoat for this economic downturn that we're headed into. And what's happening right now, they're just delaying the day of reckoning. They're loosening the bank guidelines. They're deregulating the banks. There's no reserve requirement now in the banks. We've talked about that here for many months. But all these people sadly are still unaware of the true financial situation, the dire situation that we are in. Right? So the house is on fire, but nobody's running out of the house because they're afraid to face the bad news, or no one is telling them that the house is on fire. I'm here to tell you, the house is on fire. You need to get out. And you can sit there and you can get burned up with the house, and you can just say, oh, this is negative news. This is doom and gloom. Don't tell me the house is on fire. I'm going to stay right here. I don't see any flames. I don't see any smoke. Well, the fire's on the other side of the house. It hasn't made its way to you yet, but in a very short amount of time, you're going to start smelling the smoke, and you better get out. Right? And that's why one of the common themes on this channel is prepare, prepare, prepare. Right? Maybe there'll be a miracle. Maybe there'll be an absolute miracle and nothing bad will happen. But look at all the information that we've been putting out here. This is going to happen, and it doesn't hurt to prepare. If you prepare and nothing bad happens, right, you're still going to be fine. But if you don't prepare and something bad happens, you're going to be very, very sorry. Recent article here out of Forbes, banks $11 billion in overdraft fees. That is another record, and this is only the 2019 numbers. Just wait till the 2020 numbers come out. The overdraft fees from this year, the shutdown recession year, with all these people that are living paycheck to paycheck now, barely staying positive on their checking and savings accounts, you're going to likely see another big surge in overdraft fees. But the banks are loving it. A little bit out of this article here. Overdraft fees charged to customers increased by $130 million from the previous year. And looking back since 2015, it is up $500 million. Also, 84% of those fees were paid by only 9% of account holders. And it doesn't take a brain surgeon to figure out the people with the lowest incomes, the people with the lowest balances in their checking accounts, are the ones most heavily affected. And that, again, made up 84% of all of those late fees, overdraft fees. And it's a similar story of the overall economy. The rich continue to get richer while the people at the very bottom continue to get more devastated. And the banks that made up for the bulk of those overdraft fees were JP Morgan Chase, Wells Fargo, and Bank of America, with JP Morgan Chase earning $2 billion in overdraft fee just last year alone. So ask yourself, could these banks still survive without charging these overdraft fees? Absolutely. If you look at the profits, they do not have to charge any overdraft fees. So the banks love recessions. They love job losses. They love downturns. Remember, recessions affect the bottom part of the population, the lower income bracket. But the rich, the banks, the corporations, they love it. They get richer. And even corporations and businesses that do not survive the downturn or the recession, typically the people at the top within the corporations, they still get out with very hefty bonus packages and very hefty bank accounts. CNET.com, nearly 3 million people cannot pay their car loans. We talked about that even before the shutdown. All of the, at that time, it was subprime car loans. People becoming late on their payments, but now on top of that we have 3 million people in some sort of delay or forbearance programs for their automobile policy, for their automobile loans, and that was one of the 100 million loans that are now in deferment that we talked about a couple of reports ago. Alright, so what's going to have to happen to delay the day of reckoning? Well, the government's going to have to send out more checks, of course, more stimulus checks. And recent article here out of CNBC just came out today. Will Americans get another round of stimulus payments? Well, I think they're going to have to. I think there will be another round, but you have politics involved. So here's what it says. Here's the latest update. The White House has signaled, not signed anything, but signaled it would be open to additional stimulus. However, Congress has yet to decide exactly what the next version of the stimulus legislation will look like. Now, we talked about this previously. They're talking about an additional $1,200 per individual. And let me make sure I get my math right on this. So a family of 5 would then get $6,000. And I think we mentioned this a few reports ago. Isn't it interesting how when certain things need to be funded, certain programs, let's say the military, foreign invasions of foreign countries, bank bailouts, when those things need to be funded, when those programs are needed, there's no delay. It's done at the snap of a finger. All they do is announce an emergency declaration, and they make a few threats, and it gets done. Now, there's this back and forth when it comes to actually people getting the money. So as you can see, politicians are the ones we should be not having to rely on. They don't have our best interests at heart, but yet people are out there asking for politicians to do more. People want to be 100% reliant on the government, and it is a big mistake. The key to surviving what's going to be happening is self-sufficiency. If you're relying on the government for a paycheck or a payout, I think you're going to be very, very sorry. All right, the key is to prepare. More people are waking up. Let me know what you think down in comments. Are they going to send out another set of stimulus checks, or is the politician bureaucracy going to be too much? And how soon until this real pain starts unfolding with the forbearances, with the 100 million loans that are actually frozen right now? You let me know down in comments. Thank you for watching this report. Bye for now.